Hi, everybody, and welcome to this webinar. This is Scott Cook, and I'm with Freedom Unleashed. I am the host of this webinar, and I wanted to cover the subject of how to improve your sponsoring activities. And there's a couple of other subjects I'm throwing in here, too, that's really going to help you, I believe. One of them is using questions to ensure your success. So we're going to go over what to say, what to do, and how to change your numbers. And I'm not talking about your phone numbers. What I'm talking about here is your success numbers in your network marketing business. So stay tuned. We're going to get started very shortly. We're going to go over everything I just went over, and I've got something that I am sure is going to drop your jaw and change the way you look at your business forever. So let's get going. Now, the goal of this training is to help you become a confident recruiter and boost your business by sponsoring more people. You know, I spoke earlier on the previous slide about using questions to ensure your success. Let's face it, sponsoring is the most lucrative part of our network marketing industry. And the problem is that most distributors do not know how to sponsor and close properly. If you let this portion of your skill set go unpolished, it will lead to almost all other actions you take to go unfulfilled and be unsuccessful. As I said, the goal of the training is to help you to become a confident recruiter and then boost your business by sponsoring more people. See, if you get better at closing and sponsoring, all of your other efforts at marketing and all of your other efforts at prospecting will make you a better living, and you'll be helping more people. And the number one way to be truly happy is to help and empower others. So the real question is, how many people do you want to help? You know, if you truly want to help people, you have to recruit them. You have to sponsor them. Here's why most people struggle to sponsor others. They fail to focus on the needs, wants, and desires of their prospects. They're too busy formulating their own, what they're going to say next while the prospect is talking, to really listen, actively listen, and then ask questions. Stop talking too much. See, failure to sponsor others, that comfort level, to be able to do that confidently, if you can't, this is why getting more leads doesn't even matter. See, unless you're focusing on your prospects' needs, wants, and desires, you're going to continue to struggle. Most network marketers focus on their product or service, or their comp plan, or how great they are, or how much they know. Anything but the actual needs of the prospects. See, the absolute magic in this concept is that focusing on the actual needs of the prospect is duplicatable. Once you learn to do this, you can teach it to others. You know, you're part of an amazing profession, but sometimes making others aware of it and its potential to help them, it only works if you can tie it into their needs, wants, and desires. And to properly understand those, you have to ask questions. You have to dig below the surface and find those needs, wants, and desires. You know, believe it or not, it's actually human psychology that one of the reasons many people don't approach people with their opportunity is because they don't know what to say or do if a prospect says yes. They don't know how to actually sponsor them. Now remember, once you get good at asking the right questions, your prospect will tell you their needs and desires before they see anything about your business. So make it your goal. Before you show any lead your presentation, you need to know why should they even look at the presentation. Stop talking too much. The number one error that most reps make is that they talk to too few people. The number two error is that they say way too much to the people that they do talk to. Now, here's some examples. Ask a quick question, then continue questioning versus selling. This is so much easier than what most reps are currently doing. So here's a great approach I learned from one of my mentors. Just throwing it out there. Would you be open to a side project that doesn't interfere with what you're currently doing? Now think about this. Who would say no to this? Just throwing it out there. Would you be open to a side project that doesn't interfere with what you're currently doing? See, a side project could be helping me move some furniture and I'll pay you. That could mean that to your prospect. The word project indicates there may be some form of compensation. Side project means it's not that big of a deal. So just throwing it out there, would you be open to a side project that doesn't interfere with what you're currently doing? When you get a positive response, do not jump into a verbal presentation. Most reps and people would dive right into a discussion about their opportunity. It's a great company with super products and a wonderful compensation plan. You're going to make so much money. I know this one guy who makes millions. The timing is perfect. Stop talking too much. Don't do that. When you get a positive response, you can say something like, well, just curious. Why? Why would you be open to a side project? What's recently changed in your life? Why would you be looking at a side income? Why? Ask them why. Now, you may discover the gold of their needs, wants, and desires. But you may still have to ask further questions to get there. But asking that magic why, it becomes their idea to take a look at your opportunity. And that is powerful. Don't sell yet. Dig for their need. So if they just say, I need to make more money, then ask, well, what would you do with that money? Dig deep until you find their need. Then, before you give them a presentation, before you send them a link, before you say anything about the opportunity, products, or company, repeat back their needs. Ask a key question, and then tie their needs into your side project. So, saying something like, so you're saying you really need some money in the next 18 months to cover your daughter's wedding, right? Tom, when you said that, were you serious about that? I mean, is that an option or is that something you're really serious about? Well, Tom, you may be closer to putting that $10,000 aside for your daughter's wedding than you think. If you're serious about coming up with $10K for your daughter's wedding, and I could show you a way to do that, would you be open to just taking a look? Now, that were you serious about that question is actually designed to be a psychological challenge. Because they have told you that makes it an irresistible challenge. See, they will not say no. They have to say yes. They won't say, no, I was just playing, just messing with you, just kidding. They can't say that. They have to say yes. And the binding question that follows, the if your serious question closes them. See, you're not asking them to buy. You're saying, would you be open? And who doesn't want to be considered open? Who wants to be thought of as closed-minded? Who wants to be narrow-minded? Nobody. And they already told you they were serious. Okay, now it's imperative in this process to create a break in communication. If you fail to do this, you will talk too much. You need to shut up and let your third-party tool do its magic at this point. So saying something like, well, tell you what, I have to jump on a conference call. I'm going to send you some information. It's going to be a video, link to an online presentation, CD, website, book, whatever you use. I use a link to Brilliant Compensation followed by a presentation of our company products and opportunity. The point here is that you tell them you are busy. You tell them you will send them information, and then you set up a follow-up call or get together and pin down the date and confirm it, the date and time for your follow-up. And then get off the phone or leave the personal meeting spot that you're in. Do not present. Why? Because that is not duplicatable. And you won't have the time, because you'll be prospecting a lot of people as you gain confidence with this approach. Use the third-party tools available to you. And if you don't know what they are, ask your sponsor to guide you to them. But break that communication. Simply leave it at, you'll send them information. Then create that break in communication. Done. Now remember, the tool you use does not have to be perfect. That's not the key. The key to team growth is that your new team members can do it exactly like you did. And when closing the sale, you're not selling your rep kit. You are selling the prospect the idea that they can do what you do. And don't ever forget that. So here we want to take some leadership and plan for the future of our business and our team. You know, sometimes people don't recruit and sponsor because they feel they don't know how to be a leader. Here's a great way to begin to learn how to become a leader. When you have a question, you want to ask your sponsor. Before you call them, flip it around. Ask yourself, if someone on my team asked me that question, how would I answer it? Why? Well, reality here. A lot of times we ask questions in order to delay our own success. We often ask questions that we already know the answer to, that we have within us the ability to answer them. You know, some psychologists actually say that the mere fact that you had the ability to ask a question shows that you have inside you the ability to answer it. Weird, huh? But think about it for a moment. Now, will there be questions that you don't know the answer to? Sure. But a lot of questions are answered already with what you know and feel. So if you came to me and you said, well, Scott, what do I say to this person? If I said, well, if you had someone on your team call you and ask you that same question, how would you answer them? And guess what? 95% of the time, you'd be absolutely dead on. You already know the answer. You're just trying to subconsciously delay your success. So, here's a really important question for you. What would you do if you had 20 people join your team tomorrow? What would you do? Where would you send them for training? How would you instruct and coach them? You really, really need to have a plan in place. You need to have this figured out. If you don't, you can sabotage yourself. Because if you don't know how to help people when they come on board your team, trust me, you won't have the confidence in recruiting and enrolling. And you need to get past that with a good plan. So I'll say this again. Stop looking at what you know or what you think you know and start looking at the results. All right, here we go. This is going to be the fun part. I love analogies, and I want to give you an analogy which really should make a lot of sense to you if you just hear me out. And this is going to save you lots of time and frustration in building your business. And I call it the Housefly Syndrome. See, most network marketers have this Housefly Syndrome. What is it? Well, sit back, get comfortable. I want you to close your eyes. I'm going to paint a picture for you. I want you to picture yourself sitting in your kitchen. Now, there's a housefly on the window inside the house. He wants to go outside. He wants this very badly. So this fly is on the glass and he wants to go outside. And it's right there. I mean, literally, it's right there. He's only millimeters from his goal, 3/8 of an inch away. Now watch that fly. Watch him. He moves around the window pane. He checks all the corners. He keeps buzzing. He keeps flying around and slamming into the glass. And you know what? It's easy to see what this fly's strategy is. Try harder. Work harder. Fly a little bit harder. Fly a little bit faster. Now, across the room, I want you to picture that there's an open door. It's not even 12 feet away. Now, all this housefly has to do to reach his goal is to change his strategy. That's it. With a mere fraction of the effort that he's spending on the window, he can fly through the open door and reach his goal in 5 seconds. It would be so easy. But it doesn't look easy to him, does it? He's been working on this darn window now for an hour. He hasn't made a dent in it. And he's absolutely positive and committed to the strategy. If I can just push a little harder, I'm going to get what I want. Now here's the thing. That housefly is betting his life on it. He just knows that if he can push a little harder, he's going to get it. But here's the thing. He won't. He'll waste the last hours of his life trying to push through a piece of 3/8 inch solid glass. And in just a few hours, he'll be dead. Guess what? It's no different in network marketing. Every day, we see good, honest, hardworking people who want to be successful and who deserve to be successful. And they have the same exact strategy as the housefly. They've been taught and are using a wrong model. And their strategy is, I just need to try harder. But most of the struggles that network marketers experience can be traced back to poor training on what activities make the most impact. So while most networkers are struggling and grinding away every day, a much smaller group are getting massive results with a fraction of the effort. They have found that doorway. They've turned just a little bit, and they've spotted that open doorway, the correct strategy. So do you have a housefly syndrome? I want to share some of what my mentors are teaching me right now. I am really lucky to have some awesome mentors in this business. And I want to share what I'm learning as we speak. So here's what I've done myself in looking at my personal and team results and how I'm changing my personal approach. Here's a nuts and bolts example. Here's how most people work their business. This chart is a list of the things that you have to do to build your business and how much time they take. Okay? So here we go. The first thing we have to do is find some prospects to talk to. Looking for prospects. The average person in network marketing spends a little over half their time on this. Blogging, posting, Snapchat, Instagram, making videos, writing articles and content. Most people spend about 30% of their time on these activities. Actually talking to prospects. Most spend about 5% of their time actually talking to prospects. Closing the sale, 5% of their time. And then working with their team. These are the folks who usually get the leftover time because everybody's always so busy trying to sponsor others. So 5%. That's a snapshot, but it's a pretty accurate snapshot. And it obviously varies person to person, but I'm trying to address the typical average networker here. So this is a pretty fair guideline. Now, here's the problem. Let's look at where the money is made on this list. Looking for prospect. 0. That doesn't pay anything. This is not an income-producing activity. Working on your blog and posting. 0. Talking to prospects. The act of actually speaking to a prospect to get them to look at the business does not produce income. 0. Closing the sale is where you earn 80% of your income. And working with your team to help them create an income, which gives you indirect income and leverage, that's 20%. So let me ask you, what do you think of this chart? What's your first reaction? Actually, let me start with, have you ever seen this chart? Don't you think this is an important chart? Wouldn't it seem that this is something that brand new network marketers should know? Well, I do. I think so. And until very recently, and I'm talking 40 years into a network marketing career, nobody ever showed me this chart. Now, I'm lucky. A mentor took the time to show it to me. He'd figured it out. Kind of drops your jaw, doesn't it? The bottom line is that most of the time is spent in network marketing on things that do not make money. So, here's a question for you. Is it any wonder that most people are stuck on that glass just like the housefly? Now, let me show you how I'm changing my strategy even as we speak in order to work my business more effectively, more efficiently, and with less frustration and stress. Looking for prospect, I'm spending 10% of my time. Blogging, posting, 3%. Talking to prospects, 2%. Closing the sale, 50%. Half of my time is spent there. And working with my team, 35%. You see the big difference here? It's right there. Closing the sale. I am starting to spend most of my time on the things that get me 80% of my direct income. And I spend the second largest chunk of my time on the activity that makes me my indirect income. So if it's not producing income, I suggest to you that you should either stop doing it, minimize it, automate it, or delegate it. And you cannot believe how your numbers will change for the better when you have a strategy that lets you put your time and energy on the things that actually produce the most results. Hope you got value out of this. As always, I'm trying to change the industry and give great advice that I'm receiving. Now, go forth and change your strategy. Get out of that grind to your success.